Today, we're going to take a trip. A trip down a deep, winding country road. Ben Hill, the neighbor. How's that for an intro? Today we're going to talk about Fred Hill. Fred Hill's been showing up in the comments a lot lately, and the other day on the live, I was like, hey, who y'all want to hear about? And there was quite a few. Fred Hill over here. Fred Hill for me. So we're going to talk about Fred Hill. Now, Fred Hill is one of Don Well's neighbors. And Fred Hill was recently on a YouTuber's, it was an over-the-phone interview, I'm assuming, or recorded but not taped. And this guy tells a lot of stuff about the Wells. It's almost reminiscent of Jody Sue's conversations we've heard from her. It's almost like the two of them told damn near the same story. Now, Fred Hill, he goes as far to say that there were two girls born after summer and both of them were given away, put up for adoption. He doesn't really specify. But that is big news. Now, I want to make sure everybody understands. She had two kids with her first husband, Andrew. Okay? Those got taken away. Then she had another kid, which got taken or adopted right after those two. Then, the boys, then Summer, and he's saying two after Summer. So, I don't know. It seems so bold if he's making that up. And if he's not, then I'd really like to see if there's adoption papers for everybody.
If it comes to turn out there were two kids that were after Summer, that really makes you think there could be some kind of ring in the area. And it maybe, it worked twice, and they was like, well, we need some money, and decided to do it a third. If what he's saying is true, that seems plausible to me.
Everybody. Either way, that could be big. And if he's told the TBI that could be huge. But that, I'm telling you, that's about the only real thing that come out of what I've seen so far of Fred Hill. He told a lot of the stories about, the kids seeing malnourished, talked about the condition in the basement, stuff we've already seen. But that's basically the only new thing I heard.
And Fred Hill didn't say all this by himself either. Fred Hill's wife was joining in on this conversation, and she made a few bold statements herself. They talked about the boys look malnourished. She tried to say up until about a year ago they could barely read, write, talk, anything. She acted like that DCF had intervened recently, and that's the only reason that they could talk and were kind of socialized. But how can that be so? Because we know the older ones had to have been in school. So how does it make sense that none of them could read, write, or barely talk? Now, maybe the younger ones, they weren't socialized much, and maybe it's true for them, but you would have thought the older ones would have had to been in school for a while.
I heard. If you want to go back and wade through it, you can. To me, Fred Hill has the same credibility issue that Jody Sue has, that Allie has. All three of them used to be the Wells friends, okay? And let's put it like this. They want to talk about they was drinking constantly, and they was doing illegal shit constantly. Well, if you're their friend, you was doing it too. People that don't do drugs don't hang out with people that do. People that don't drink don't hang out with people that do. I'm sorry. That's the pack. That's how the crowd rolls out on Ben Hill, apparently. And Allie, even though she's not a Ben Hill resident, she lived with the Wells. So I want everybody to take all that to count when you hear what these people are saying about Dawn and Candace. Now, I'm not taking up for Dawn and Candace in one bit, don't get me wrong. But I'm telling you right now, when it comes to Allison, when it comes to Jody Sue, when it comes to Fred Hill, they're all peas of a pod. All of them. You don't hang out with people that, if you're going to be breaking the law and doing dope and shit, you're not going to be hanging out with people that aren't. It just doesn't mix. It's like oil and water. So everything they say and all the accusations they say, I don't know. I'm not saying I don't believe a lot of it, but don't act like you're innocent when you have all these stories to tell us about what happened while you were with them. So apparently you were with them quite a bit. So I think it's a big character flaw in all these people. Allison, Jody Sue, Fred, everyone I've seen that comes back and just, boot stomp somebody. Imagine. And why I'm on it, I want to add also that I'm really suspicious of all these people trying to throw Dawn and Candace under the bus, because they were friends, okay? It makes me kind of wonder if they're not trying to distance themselves from Dawn and Candace even more by, telling all this stuff about them. It makes me think they're at it a little too hard, almost like they're trying to discredit them in case something would come back their way. It just seems like they're going overboard to really ruin them, because, and I don't know if they see it this way or not, but in my opinion, by saying all this stuff you've seen, the stuff with animals, the stuff with neglect with kids and all that, that is horrible in itself to me, that somebody witnessed all that. And for somebody to be present while that kind of stuff is going on, it almost makes you a part of it in my book. Because some of that stuff, if you're not doing anything to help prevent it, you're kind of an accomplice, in my opinion. And I wonder, they weren't interjecting about the Wells parenting style when it was going on. And it makes you wonder if they would, if, Summer hadn't become missing. I'm willing to bet if the heat wasn't on that they'd still all be good friends. And whatever seems to be moving in and out of Ben Hill Road would still be flowing freely. Because it seems like everybody on that road is really close to something to do with drugs. From the accusations we've heard, like Jody Sue's boyfriend, we've heard rumors about him. I've always wondered if the reason Jody Sue didn't want her place searched there at the beginning was because she didn't want things at her place seen. Because they said she didn't want them to didn't want to let them search in the beginning. And Allison, she stayed with them for a long time. And now they're the worst people in the world. And like I've said recently, with the Andy video, the Allison thing makes me wonder if it ain't a jilted relationship, not a friendship, but a relationship. Because Andy sure seemed to be suspicious. And even though we can't put a lot of stock in Andy because he's as shifty as the other three, Fred, Allison, and Jody Sue, all of them, everybody you meet in this story seems to have a horrible background and makes poor decisions, And I still really believe his big urge to get H from Allison was more about, then he'd have control over interviews and stuff like that. That's just the way it seemed to me.
those are my opinions. I hate to interject here. I'll let y'all finish.
They're the same. They're the same group as Don and Candace are. You need to keep that in mind anytime you're taking information about them. Now, something else I wanted to add while I was making a video. This is a little behind because I don't watch the gossip. The shit gets all up in my nerves. But I will every now and then. So I'm 2 weeks behind because I seen a headline that talked about Summer's bones were found. Alright? And that is disgusting. It's really disgusting for that to be your title of your video. Anything like that, and I've seen a few of them. That's gross, that's disgusting. Summer's birthday's coming up on February 4th. Today's the 2nd. You know, show the little girl some love. People that make videos like these, they are pariah. They are the ones that Ronnie Lawson talks about when he says that social media and YouTube's entering the investigation. It's because of shit like that. Found some bones out where you know it's done been searched 5 times. And not only, it wasn't good enough just to find bones, they had to have a little burn spot too. And that was a hoax. And if I knew for sure which one perpetrated it, I would spend it's 4 views, and it's sickening, and it makes everybody look bad. You know? That's all I wanted to say about all that. But yeah, you know, Fred did say that. He said there were 2 girls that came after Summer. Now, if there are, this thing could be big, you know. That makes you think more of the ring action going on instead of it being a local accident, something like that. If that's the case, that there was already 2 that were adopted out, I'd love to know under what conditions, and I would love to find out if that's true. So, hopefully, you know, hopefully maybe we're getting somewhere. Who knows, you know. I try to stay positive. Like I said, Summer's birthday's coming up. Everybody wish her a happy birthday. There's going to be a podcast, VCK The Watcher. Look for that on Summer's birthday. And